Irish Media Network. We entertain.
This is Sunil Sharpe. You're watching About Last Night.
Hey guys, welcome to season 2 of About Last Night. We are here at District 8, Dublin's iconic music venue, but it is an end of an era here at District 8. It is the last night, there is a serious lineup, and we'll be chatting to Sunil Sharpe, so stay tuned. Okay girls, it's a bit of a sad day. The weather's a bit matching the mood of tonight. The last District 8 gig ever. Have you been to one before?
Yeah, a couple of times.
We went to Groove Armada last month. It was so good. Yeah.
I was at it. It was insane.
So good. We had such a good time.
The crowd was mental at that one.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
As well. Yeah.
It was nice mix.
It was a different atmosphere, but it got the crowd going insane. Come here, so when you're at District 8, whether you want to share it or not, is there any mad memories? Because I know I have a fair few mad memories with here. Have you got any mad memories at all?
I feel like none of them we can say on TV. Like,
quite embarrassing moments.
No, they're just bad.
I was here for Fatima Yamaha, I think like a couple of years ago, and I was trying to jump onto the stage, so they didn't like
a girl after my own heart. It's like, okay, can I get on stage with you? I don't want to be in the crowd.
Yeah.
Also, the reason why I seen you sitting over there, your jacket is literally giving me life. Where did you get it?
It's from H&M.
I'm kind of jealous because I thought I was warm and then I seen you.
No, it's actually really warm. Because I didn't expect it, it doesn't
be so cold.
Yeah, but it is.
At all. Okay, so I'm going to bring the cheddar now. If, say, District 8 was a friend of yours that was travelling away to Australia, you're never going to see them again.
You're from Australia.
And what do you know, you're from Australia? If you could give them, District 8 a goodbye cheesy message, what would you say to District 8?
That's a hard question.
I don't know.
Putting you on the spot.
There's been good times, there's been bad times, but it's all been good in the end.
You've seen me at my worst, you've seen me at my best.
Yeah, that's it. So true.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. That's really cute. District 8, be proud to have you here. Thank you so much for coming over and chatting. Guys, thanks so much for chatting to me tonight.
Absolutely, no worries.
District 8, the last one, end of an era. How are you feeling?
Exactly. No, that's it. End of an era. With Hanger gone, Twisted Pepper gone, Opium gone, District 8 is the last one.
It's a dying few. Hanger was gone just a few months ago, and we're trying to just hold on to what remains we have of just a nightlife in Dublin.
And it's such a good venue. There has been so many amazing gigs. Have you been to any mad ones that stand out in your head?
Motor City recently was incredible. Coming from a pop-up venue to this, it's been an absolutely
ridiculous.
Why does it have to go? It's not ready yet.
It's not its time. I wish we had more time with DA than we have right now.
Well, even with tonight, the lineup tonight is incredible. So many good acts. Who are you so excited to see to Boogie to tonight?
Exchequer, simple as. Last night.
Last night you missed him.
Raymond Hamo and DJ Dees closing the theatre. That is the perfect. I'm so glad it's three Irish boys.
I know, it's kind of emotional.
Closing out the theatre. Yeah. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be so good. Look, guys, thank you so much for sharing your time and your memories with us. Goodbye, District 8. Goodbye, District 8. Sunil Sharpe, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just in the door, so I'm kind of. I got in a little bit later tonight, but I try not to get into the venue too early. I know it's a big night tonight, but I was at the dinner thing earlier and I've met everyone already, but usually before gigs I try not to be in a few hours before because it sort of
get in the good space. Headspace, I suppose.
Yeah, kind of, just to keep my energy a little bit. Yeah.
It sounds absolutely hopping in there at the moment.
Yeah, actually, when I was leaving earlier, I could hear the upstairs room and the downstairs room, and it's just a shame the place is. I want to stay positive, but it's just a pity. It's
an end of an era. Yeah. But I'm sure you've got many memories from here. Any of them you'd like to share with us?
I think when Influx took it over in the early 2000s, that was an interesting time. They only had it for about a year, but that was that was good because they brought in a new sound system. They did a big launch. The community, the dance music community, was quite big then as well, and it was it was a bit of an occasion. They were taking on something new. It had been running in the 90s, in the late 90s, which is when I was first starting to go out, and I was in here too. I remember seeing Billy Nasty play here one night when his one of the cartridges went on the deck, and he could only play off one deck, and I can kind of relate to that because that's happened with me as well, where I've had to do things like that. But like actually Dave Clark playing here on New Year's Eve 2002 or 2003. Yeah. Like I think Dave Clark is one of those. He's like a perennial favourite here, so it's nice that he's doing the closing night.
So not only have you played in Ireland, you've had the opportunity to play all over the world in some of the best clubs. Give us some of your favourite clubs to play in.
So some of them are the obvious ones purely because they are the best clubs on a production level. The structure of the buildings, it's no coincidence that Fabric, Bassiani, Berghain, Tresor, these places are particularly popular because the buildings themselves are very impressive, as is the organisation, sound system. In Berghain you have like Function 1 speakers hanging out of the ceiling, aimed at people, and it's
I haven't been, I'm yet to be.
Yeah, you should go. I think everyone should go to that club, But, I think it's, besides even the clubs, because there's some of these places you play in a number of times and you go back to, and I think what's more important to me these days is actually the community aspects of each country and meeting people who I have something in common with, and forging, relationship or friendship with people, because that's what it's all about after all.
Would there be anybody that you'd like to play back to back with?
Be honest, I've done a number of back-to-back.
No, you've done some serious ones.
They were never really. If you'd had asked me before I started doing some of them in recent years about back-to-backs, I'd be like, I'm not into all that. I prefer when there's a little bit more of a challenge, when it's when there's more decks involved and a mixer each and stuff like that. So certainly everyone that I've done it with so far, I've really enjoyed doing the back-to-backs with, but I'd like if I am doing them in future with people that we just challenge ourselves a bit more. But the thing with that is and from doing them in the past, usually if it was somebody that lived here also, we'd practice before the gig and whatever. I think the A&D guys, we did a 4-deck, like 2-mixer thing or whatever. I think they had even more decks because they use like 8 decks or 6 decks or something crazy, like
showing off.
Yeah, but it went pretty well with them. Do we all have a mixer each and a couple of decks? I can't remember, but I mean, but that's the kind of stuff that happens sometimes too. You just go, well, hang on, we're long enough at this. We kind of know what we're doing, so maybe we don't need to practice it. Let's just see how it goes. But I certainly prefer to be going that angle with more DJs. I actually know quite a few. Quite a few. I haven't done it with too many, but a few people who I would have played with, like Mum Dance, for instance, who would have been mostly playing digital. And now recently he's been saying he's been really getting back into records, and he's buying loads of stuff on Discogs and stuff. So I think maybe I think we're playing together in a couple of months, but maybe at either then or a later point we might do it on records. We're in Geneva or somewhere. I don't think it's here. Maybe we will again in the future. But I mean. It's nice. Sometimes it's not that it's awkward playing with someone when it's digital, but I do prefer playing with someone when we're just playing records personally. But I'm adaptable.
You're open-minded.
Yeah, I'm open-minded. They can play once we can. Yeah, exactly.
So come here. In your career, what for you was the turning point? How did we get up to touring the world and playing in these amazing clubs? What do you think that pinnacle moment was?
I don't know. I think like in the early days, in the early 2000s, when I was starting to DJ out, there was a few sort of things that happened then. But I mean, it was never that regular that I was playing outside of Ireland. And we had a fairly strong scene here as well. And I wasn't really releasing any music back then either. But I mean, I think the turning point was probably about 2011, 2012, that kind of time. I was starting to play a little bit more outside of Ireland, so it was starting to go that way. But then I had a couple of records out, and then that's sort of on a few of the right labels of the time, and then Blown and Pariah picked up on what I was doing, and it was Yeah, it just sort of went organically. It sort of just moved organically, I think, then, really. It was, I think back then as well, it doesn't seem like that long ago to me personally, like that's only 6 years ago or something like that. But I mean, then there was a lot of, Blauen was a real hot shot then, you know, and Arthur as well. They're doing the Karen stuff and all that. And sometimes, like, I'd be getting booked, and the promoters would be like, "What's Blauen like? You know, tell us all about him," and all that. It was like I was the nearest person they could get to him without booking him, if you know what I mean. Because at that point he was getting so busy, and it's harder for smaller nights to book somebody like Blauen. But I think then people booked me and then saw that I could DJ a bit too, and then that sort of, I guess it was more than just being on someone's label. It was about the way I DJ'd, and more people got to see what I did. So that was definitely a turning point. Yeah.
So I was at a talk on Tuesday in the Sugar Club, and you were leading the discussion.
Yeah.
It's called Give Us the Night. Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Yeah, it's a campaign group. We actually started originally in the mid-2000s, and although we've used the same name, that was a very different campaign to what it is now. Would have involved a lot of older names in the scene of then, like Tony Walsh or Buzz O'Neill, Simon Conway, the Body Tonic guys were involved, Gav Paisley. We had quite a big group really back then, but we were fairly much at full throttle with that as well, but in a different way to what you see now. It was we probably didn't have the same. I'm not saying that we have a really strong lobbying power now, but I mean there was certain aspects of the campaign and being activists or whatever that we were still learning, you know. And in this kind of thing, you need to work effectively, you know. And I think back then there was probably some very simple things we were probably not doing right, you know. But not even that. It was an honest campaign. It was. We were doing our best. It was quite DIY in ways quite similar to what it's like now. But yeah, that was the initial incarnation of Give Us the Night. But certainly in recent years, obviously as things changed with my own DJing and that, and there wasn't really much political will or industry will for change as well. There was a group that were working on it, like an industry association that represented nightclub owners. I sometimes didn't feel they were pushing it. I don't know. I don't want to criticise them, but I didn't always feel we were on the same page as them, and for them it was sometimes a little bit one-dimensional in terms of their outlook or vision for nightlife and nightclubs. And but it didn't matter. We could work together, but I still felt that, unfortunately, because they were a smaller lobby than, let's say, the Vintners, like with the publicans and all the rest, that they didn't really get listened to, whereas the publicans probably, you know, weren't penalised as much as them in the Intoxicating Liquor Act, which is 10 years ago now. So not much has changed in the legislation since then. In fact, nothing. But there's a new generation of clubbers, or people going out, or people promoting events as well, and running the clubs even. So I don't know. I guess I felt that, and I also felt that the campaign, you know, I was getting older, but there was nobody really staying in the campaign with me, you know, and I knew that we needed to do this and push it again. So we did a call out about a year ago and had a meeting similar to the other night, but we had it in another venue called the Grand Social, and that was a great starting point. And as a result, we've been working really, really, really hard on it. There's not loads of people involved, but everyone that is involved is very dedicated.
It is something that you are looking for. You are looking for people to get involved, and just to get in contact with you. Look up Give Us the Night and get involved, because you're looking for researchers and all that as well.
Yeah, like there's from anyone that works in the nighttime industry, anybody that just has an interest in nightlife being better here, anybody that goes to a European country and thinks we could do better here, and we could do a lot better here, obviously. But really, this is an industry. It's also our culture. It's many things, and it affects many things. It's not just about people going out to have fun. Obviously, that is what it's about too. But I mean, this is people's livelihoods, and it could be more people's livelihoods as well. We need to look at the fact that a lot of people have fallen off and have had to go back to working jobs that they mightn't have wanted to. I think we have to value this and look to other countries like Germany, Holland, even France, even how they treat artists and creative people over there. They give them they give them a bit of a how would you say, a little bit of a leg up in terms of tax exemptions and things like that, you know.
So come here, 3 words to your District 8 fans, ravers, followers. What would you say to them?
Stay till the end. That's for. Well, I think they're going to anyway. But I mean, no, I don't know. Thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for being interested. I don't run this venue. All I can say is keep following the guys, keep following District 8 and everyone involved when they move to their next destination, because they've done things right here, and they've done something that no other crew had really done in a big space like this, not in many years. So yeah, keep supporting them.
Well, come here. Thank you so much for chatting to us, and good luck out there. You're going to smash it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to season 2 of About Last Night. God, I missed you. Did you miss us? I bet you did. Bet you missed us. Sure, where else do you get your music costs on a weekly basis? Tonight, I'm in the Roisín Dubh. I'm chatting to Matt Owens. Matt is formerly of Knowing the Whale, so he had massive success with them. He's just launched his solo career, so his new album, Whiskey and Orchids, is just about to launch. I have the release date for you for that. I also have footage of an unbelievable gig that he's just done, so stick around. That's all coming your way. Season 2, we're back! Welcome back, folks. I'm here with Matt Owens. Matt, welcome to About Last Night. Thanks a million for sitting down with us. How are things?
Things are great, thank you very much, yeah.
Going to hop straight into it, put you on the spot immediately. Your song, The Piano at the Greyhound.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. Is that a reference to the Greyhound Bar in Kilkee?
That is fantastic knowledge.
Where you're playing this Friday night?
I'm playing this Friday night.
Excellent. How did that come about? Tell us about that.
It was one of those things, I played the Greyhound Bar in Kilkee first time with Noah and the Whale. We played up the road there, that festival, and then there was that heat wave, and 20,000 people were meant to turn up.
When was this?
It was about 10 years ago. Right. There was a huge festival in Kilkee. I remember because I saw the Hold Steady, and there was a heat wave. So they had this huge tent for like 20,000 people, and all the Irish stayed down on the beach. And I genuinely watched the Hold Steady play to like 8 people. They literally barely had a front row. But I can say that because they put on the greatest rock and roll show I've ever done. And I was
for 8 people.
Yeah, for 8 people. They didn't care. They played like it was 80 million people. And I remember standing by the side of the stage. It was the first time I'd ever heard of the Hold Steady, and I'd always been told like, "Oh, you'll like them." But I remember watching it, going, "This is just bloody amazing," and it was. So there was a bar. There was obviously the Greyhound Bar there. I went into that bar about 3 or 4 times before I even realised they had a piano. Right. And then I was like, "Where's the piano?" And they.
Had you heard about the piano, or what was
someone was like, "I think there's a piano there." Right. Like really casually, like you know, it's obviously you wouldn't mention it. And they just had these candles on it for like 50 years that they just continued to replace and light. And so that it was just basically this wall of wax. And in order for me to play it for the first time, I literally had to chip away the wax, and then suddenly like chunks of it were coming off, and then finally this piano emerged. And then obviously being in Kilkee, you know, down the road from a Trump golf course. Yeah. Naturally, obviously. Of course. People just started telling me stupid stories about the piano, like how Tom Waits was conceived in it, and like, you know.
There's a touch of Tom Waits' air to that tune, though.
I will happily take that. Thank you very much. That's very magnanimous of you. But like, and I just started getting told it was rubbish, basically, and I wrote it down, and then that turned into. It was basically picked up on, like, you know, Claude Monet painted it once, and you know, Princess Diana saw it once. You know. I
hope it's all true, and I'd be happier to die not knowing that it's not. Will that be on Whiskey and Orchids?
That is on Whiskey and Orchids. Yeah. That's track 4, and here's great ring composition. Tom Waits' his drummer, who plays on the record, plays Michael Blay, played on like all the really dark Rain Dog stuff. Yeah. He plays on that track.
Excellent. I love those little stories. That's perfect. Can you give us a little bit of information on when Whiskey and Orchids is going to come out?
1st February.
Oh, brilliant. Great stuff.
1st February. So this is basically the first time. I've been touring it for about 4 months, 5 months, but this is the first time I've taken it to Ireland.
Yeah.
Because normally I'm over here with my rock and roll band Little Mammoths.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'm here, and the drummer from Little Mammoths, Jimmy's helping, sitting in and playing on all the tracks with me, and we're kind of taking it out as an Americana duo.
Nice.
And it's great.
And you collaborated with Robert Vincent on that, so that kind of adds to the whole Americana feel to it. What was it like working with both himself, Thea Gilmore, and then obviously with the producing influence of Nigel Stonier as well? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing.
Loads about it.
I can bore you senseless about all of that. It wasn't.
We were short in time. Go on.
I mean, Americana's a weird thing. Like, I just like because obviously now it's kind of a buzzword and it means certain things to certain people. For me, like Thea Gilmore, has just got like one of the most singular voices I've ever heard. Like it's one of those. I think it's far harder to be a female singer and for someone to hear your voice and to go, that's Thea Gilmore, and she's got that in spades.
That kind of unique quality that differentiates her from
it's like a
other people.
tone and like a way she approaches the whole thing, and it's basically an identity, isn't it? You just hear it and because I think, well, at least to my ears, like a female voice can sound quite nice quite easily, and so you can get quite a lot of generic singers, and
Once they have that kind of purity to it.
And my stuff's quite dark and perverted and all this kind of stuff. So you needed someone to kind of carry it and totally hold their own on it. And, I used some of the voices on the record as like characters, and she's just totally got that strength and power behind it. So that was just, I didn't even think she'd do it. So I was just like, she heard some of the demos. It's like one of those silly stories. She heard some of the demos and was like, who's that?
I read about you in a recent interview. You were saying that your time with Knowing the Whale, you wouldn't change anything about it, but something you do miss is touring America. So when the album is released, and hopefully it'll be a massive success, if you could go back and tour the album in America, where would be the places you do tomorrow?
That's already Austin.
Really?
Seattle. I'd then go to Chicago pretty quick, and I'd have to end up at
Plan an American tour in your head a little bit?
Yes. It's the one thing that you can't do off your own back, like in terms of just like I've toured Australia since I've toured Europe quite extensively, like Ireland's great for like coming over and you guys are so welcoming. America's kind of like the forbidden fruit because of just the processes and the bloody admin. And literally, it's quite a closed shop unless you're rocking quite a big team.
Oh, so it's not the distance from place to place; it's literally just getting in, is it?
Yeah, it's you need a visa and you need and that it was hard back then. Yeah. Like when I last did it pre a Trump government, we used to go to, even then it was difficult for Nowhere in the World, having sold like 1 million albums to try and get visas to go, and it was tough.
Yeah.
So in terms of the logistics of that, and they're very good at looking after their own, as Springsteen would say. So you'd need to get an American booking agent, and then he'd need to be recommended by an American label, and all this. So it's just quite hard to get in again. Okay. But it was we did 10 coast to coast tours. And it was great while it lasted. And but I'm going to get back there. Excellent. And I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you will, 100%. In the meantime, just before we let you go, when the album is released on the 1st of February, where can Irish fans catch you between now and the end of the year?
I'm going to be coming back to do an Irish tour in about 2-3 months.
Brilliant.
And then I'd like to hit up a load of Irish festivals. So I'd love to go back to like Electric Picnic and all these kind of things. So if anyone's got any Irish festivals, it was great because in 2014 when Noah took a hiatus, the Mammoths, my rock and roll band Little Mammoths, went and did like Clonakilty Guitar Festival, and like headlined a stage there. We've headlined the Dublin Folk Festival, and we did 14 tours of Ireland in that year alone. Jeez, and so we really, it was great though. It's just like getting back, because I was a bit mad because I just obviously had quite a heady kind of 8-9 years. And, got together with my best mates and we just went and played places like Kenny's Bar and Lynch, Dick Mack's in Dingle, we played up in Connemara in Clifton, went to Jason Foyle's bar. Yeah. We playing to no one. Yeah. And it was so good. I remember the boys picked me up from an Arcade Fire. We supported Arcade Fire.
I read this. And then you went down to Connemara.
We went to Clifton, And we got the name of the bar wrong. We were meant to be going to Malarkey's. and we went, or Mullarkeys, and we went to Malarkeys, or vice versa.
Right.
And we ended up at this town 3 miles out of Clifton.
Right.
I say town, there was literally a road and a building.
Pub and
And
post office.
yeah, it was that. There wasn't even a post office. And that was what we turned up to. And they were like, the piano man plays on Tuesdays. And we were at Malarkeys, not Mullarkeys, or Mullarkeys or not, because we couldn't pronounce with the correct respect. But interestingly, I found out my grandfather, who was raised in an orphanage, Foyles used to be, he was an Irishman, Foyles used to be an orphanage, and that is the orphanage that my grandfather grew up in.
Out in Clifton?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so that's where it started. And then Peter O'Toole's family got hold of it. So the O'Tooles owned it for a bit. Yeah. And my grandfather weirdly looked a lot like Peter O'Toole.
To be continued, folks. We'll investigate that and come back to you. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Can't wait to see you when you come back. Can't wait for the show tonight. And thanks a million for sitting down and chatting to me.
Thanks so much for taking
Great to meet you.
For another episode of About Last Night, down at the art department for another edition of OCD. We've had a nice wee break, but we're going to be chatting to Aberdeen's DJ Bloom a little later on about stuff he's got coming up in the year. Stick around. What's up, guys? This is Andrew down at OCD. I'm chatting with DJ Bloom. Just flown all the way over from Aberdeen. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm good.
So Scotland's got a long heritage of like quality producers, quality DJs, very charismatic DJs as well. You got like Code 9, Optimo, Jack Master. You got the new school coming in with Dennis Olda essentially taking over the world.
Yeah.
How did you get into DJing yourself? Like what kind of influenced you to take the path that you have?
Yeah, so I started off, I was playing records with my friends Andy Buchan. He sort of introduced me to it, and essentially it was like playing old school house records, Kerry Chandler, Frankie Knuckles, that sort of thing. And then we kind of started out from there. And I knew nothing about dance music before that. Like he sort of showed me it. Before that, I was into punk, I was into metal, I was into heaps of other stuff, and he sort of showed me. Along with my flatmate at the time, Cam, and he showed me like all this sort of dance music stuff. I had no idea about any of it, so I started listening to it through that, and just liked the energy of it, and took it from there, and really enjoyed it. And that was it. Yeah.
So like OCD and yourself have a very similar like ethos, especially when it comes to sort of like tracks.
Yeah.
Like it's very club ready tracks at home on the dance floor. How did the OCD sort of like collaboration with Tonight come around? Like you played with Mark before in Scotland, I'm pretty sure, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. So we had most of my tunes I'll make it with, if it's not got energy to it, I'm not into it. You know, I like to make tunes that have got a bit of, got a bit of pump or got a bit of, you can play them out and everyone enjoys them and has a good time.
Yeah,
and
you're there to dance.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not really into making like chill house music or anything like that. And I do like listening to it every now and then, but not my sort of thing to make. But yeah, me and Mark. So I hit up Mark to play in to put a track out on Unit 2, which is my record label, Unit 2 Records, for the first release, and he gave me a tune for that, which was banging. So I brought him over to play in Glasgow with me and J-Wax, Jace, who's another producer from Scotland who's fucking smashing it at the moment. He's really, really cool. So we played in Glasgow, and then since then Mark was saying he'll bring me over, play for OCD, and I was buzzing about it, so here we are, and that's it. Yeah, exactly.
So I've seen a video on your Facebook with Avalon Emerson playing one of your tracks, Warehouse Project, I believe it was. Avalon's killer DJ. Like, what kind of, when you seen that footage, what was the kind of thing going through your head?
Oh, it's just like madness. Like I couldn't even, when I found out that she had, so originally the tune was up for free download, it was Sippin', and I knew she downloaded it. I didn't even think she'd play it. I thought she'd just downloaded it and that was that. And then I started to see videos of like on the ID groups on Facebook and stuff, her playing it, and it was just madness because she's got such an eclectic taste of music, and she's got all the music she plays is such a high quality. To know that she was playing one of my tracks, which Sippin' was the track that she's playing. It's getting released this year. It's such a, I don't know. a simple tune that I made in maybe like an afternoon, and I didn't think much of it when I made it, and now it's become probably the biggest tune that I've done. So it's crazy, and because she's such a class DJ as well, it's mad that she's been playing it. Yeah, it's totally crazy.
So you had a big year. There's so many mixes coming out as well.
Yeah.
You had that release on LAK7.
Yeah.
And Of Paradise.
Yeah.
So DJ Moonbeam was on there. You just released on Pear down south there as well. Like what else have you got planned for the coming year?
Oh, there's lots. Me and Paul and Lauren, who do Of Paradise. I'm sorry. I don't have anything. No. So Of Paradise is a class label. They've been releasing Baltra and stuff. So I've got some stuff planned with them. We've been in talks for fucking ages about doing something. So hopefully something will happen there. And then there's a couple of other bigger labels that I've got stuff planned with. Some that haven't even started yet that I can't really speak about, I suppose, but stuff locked in for vinyl releases. So 2019 is going to be, I think at the moment, like 4 or 5 vinyl releases, which is mad because I've not had one yet. So it's going to be a super busy year. And playing all over the place, Manchester and London, and another slot in Glasgow as well. So it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Yes.
All right, man. Thank you very much for joining me. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Cheers.
Well, that's it for another episode of About Last Night. Thanks a million to District 8. It's sad to say that it's an end of an era, but I don't think it's the last of these guys yet. Thanks a million to Sunil Sharpe, and we'll see you guys next week.